Today we're going over the first new Heroes banner of 2026 for Fire Emblem Heroes. To kick things off, Sacred Stones has a few newcomers to Fae with Franz and Morva. We then have Rearmed L'Arachel with her nation's other Sacred Twin weapon, Lute. Bringing up the rear will be aided Lute, who has brought along a questionable pet Mogul. We'll talk about everyone's stats and skills, plus discuss some build ideas. The 4-star focus unit for the banner is Franz. You can get him at 4 to 5 star rarity, and he will demote into 3 to 4 star pool after the banner is over. Franz is a Lance Cavalier and the 4th blue Sacred Stones demote in a row. I wish we had some variation because he's also going to be my 3rd blue Cavalier merge project within the last year. Ignoring my color imbalance to barracks, Franz is a Lance Cavalier with 43 HP, 46 attack, 48 speed, 35 defense, and 23 res. Pretty solid offensive stat spread, and Franz has a speed super boom. He has slightly less attack than Fafnir, but Franz also has a more balanced defensive stat line. They are both pretty far ahead of any other free-to-play Lance Cavs though if you're looking for a speedy unit. For old skills, Franz has Swap, Rouse Attack and Speed, and Flow Refresh 3. On its own, Flow Refresh isn't that crazy, but Flow Refresh builds into the pretty good Assault Impetus and Potent Assault B skills. Franz is the only non-5-star unit with the skill, so I wouldn't be so sad with some extra copies. For his inheritable weapon, Franz has the Melee Lance Plus. For foes within 3 rows or columns, inflict -5 stats and defensive tempo. If the user has 125% HP, deal X times 5 true damage. X is the number of foes within 3 spaces of the target, including the target. If there are 3 surrounding enemies, then you can get a max of 20 true damage. Raphael got the Melee Axe last month, and that was a copy of Spring Lanku's Spring Air Axe. This is a new Lance version, but the effect is the same. Generally, Melee Lance is decent if you initiate on groups of foes. That's how you get the most true damage. The support effect is okay with -5 stats and nullifying extra special charging. You can pair that with Archrival's Guard, and then you can force the enemy to now have instant cooldown or no guard. Not the greatest inheritable or anything, but not the worst we've gotten. With that said, thanks to Rune Daniel snapping all the future Tempest Trials units, the free-to-play inheritable weapon situation is looking pretty bleak moving forward. Lance units are probably in the best spot because Johanna Lance is pretty busted, plus 6 attack and speed, dodge, and debuff neutralization for the team. The user will get +5 stats, 7 flat DR, and full damage reflection. For initiation build, Franz can upgrade his Flow Refresh into Assault Impetus for momentum style cooldown, or Potent Assault for the extra hit. If you have another cooldown perk like Bella's Breath type cooldown, then Franz can charge and proc Archrival on his follow-up. We can then use the Flow Refresh Sacred Seal to get back the offense in a follow-up effect. Now with Archrival and Dodge's percent DR, we can use Excel or Blue Skies for flat DR. If Franz can reduce a big hit and survive, then Archrival will also get the full damage reflection, true damage added on top as well. Now currently we only have attack and speed Bellow, but Johanna Lance already buffs attack and speed. This will overlap with pretty much all the Hone Cavalry C skills, so be on the lookout for a defensive res variant of these skills. For another build, Arcane Crimson will grant more stats overall with Slang and Preempt Pulse for cooldown. You can also nab Blue Skies from Hinoka for Kanto 2. Now other Kanto skills are Alarm, which is an upgrade from Franz's Rouse C skill, or just the usual Near Trace B skills. With Crimson, you may not need other cooldown skills to trigger Gale Force Mist. Potent can also add an extra hit, and we have that Potent Sacred Seal now. There's also the Blue Sky Sacred Seal, which is really good. Plus 6 attack and speed with up to 6 true damage and flat DR. I mean, can't really top that. For some other skills, Clash, Catch, Sparrow A skills can all work. Execution Breath is another solid B skill for true damage and Protect cooldown, plus anti-healing. Franz can use Shadow Assist skills or Bruno's Red Feud. For Tune skills, you can use Slide, Lull, or Guard Echo. Overall, Franz is a fine demo Lance Cavalier. He's speedy with the usual higher defense focus, and we got lots of skills on the table to use for an offensive build. Our one permanent 5-star unit is Morva, who's I'm pretty surprised to see. Mur's adoptive fodder is a green flying dragon like her OG form. It has been a pretty good time for Mur in the past couple months. She got 2 refines and a resplendent outfit. As a modern iteration, Morva has 40 HP, 49 attack, 18 speed, 48 defense, and 45 res. Morva's more min-max for lower speed than his daughter and has an attack super boon. Now for old skills, Morva has Dragon Scales, which Let You Name Her got as part of her remix. He's also the 2nd unit with Dragon Flame. Dragon only Ignis with 30% max HP healing, and its 40% DR can work on enemy phase without a defense check. You still need someone special to be ready though. Morva's weapon is the Purging Breath. At start of either phase, grant plus 6 defensive res, Fringe bonus, and Warp Bubble to allies within 2 spaces. Morva has Near Trace for Kanto, IO Shield, and Slang. He gets plus 15 stats in combat and Breath type cooldown. Morva deals 25 true damage and has 15 Excel type flat DR. Nothing too crazy here, and we see where Mer got most of her various effects across several ults. Morva isn't weak to archers and has Warp Bubble for anti-warping, trying to get some attack and speed buffs to make use of Fringe bonus. Built-in content will make it easier to use Morva's flyer mobility as well. Speaking of which, Morva has attack and res hold guide. Allies within 2 spaces can warp to a tile within 2 spaces of the user. The user can also warp 2 spaces around allies. Last, inflict -4 attack and res on foes within 3 spaces. The debuffing part of hold is tougher to utilize than Crux skills, but it's the guidance warping that is the main perk. Morva can ferry allies around and then warp around them himself. We just got Spring Mer's refined, and funnily enough, I suggested Dragon Skills and Hold Guide for her build. Morva can use that combo fine. With Slang, Breath type cooldown, and Dragon Skills -1 cooldown before getting hit, Morva can charge Dragon Flame after taking 1 hit. He will return fire with the Ignis damage special and heal 30% max HP. If needed, Morva can get the 40% DR for follow-up attacks, and Dragon Skills gives Morva his own double if not stopped. The skill also gives 50% piercing. Now to fill Morva's A skill, you can use Scowl or a distant counter skill. Strat Flame is an option, although the cooldown effect will overlap. Still, +10 attack and defense, +5 true damage, 5 flat DR, and if he initiates, then the big dragon can lay down flame tiles, which seems kinda fitting. Now generally speaking, flying dragons don't have the most amount of tanking tools, so if you want a more initiation focused setup, then Morva can use momentum. If you have a follow-up from like a Sly A skill, then Conjuring Breath is also an option. For C skills, Hold Guide is fine for getting into attack and help allies. Morva could also use Air Orders 4 for a full +6 field buffs, but that only works on other flyers. With his decent base res, Morva could use the new Crux Poise C skill from Ivy, or he can use Uplift Imbue from Volley. The speed part may not be ideal, but generally speaking, a bulky unit with Imbue sounds like a good time. You can use Breath of Life 4, but Uplift Imbue extends its support range across the map, which is pretty crazy. Now besides Tempest skills, Morva can use Strat Assault for true charge. Sadly, you can't get both Strat Flame and Strat Assault from Edelgard in one go. Now for other general skills, Counter Roar as a seal is okay, or you could run Deflect/Hardy Bearing. It's not necessary, but you could also use Attack and Speed ult for full self buffs. Now for support, Morva can use Havoc for debuffing or favor when assisting. In the Attune slot, you can run Soaring, Crux, Res Scowl, Distant Counter, or Guard Echo. It will require a full speed investment, plus I think a couple merges, but Morva could use Patience. Please be sure he actually hits 30 speed outside of battle before you commit to that one. In conclusion, Morva's a bulky flying frontliner, but flyers don't get a ton of tanking skills, and his dragon typing means Morva gets locked out of guaranteed % DR specials like Comet. Instead of a pure tank, you can try to take advantage of his mobility to lead the charge. Our next unit is Rearmed L'Arachel, who I assume is now a Valkyrie based on the hat. The only Sacred Stones Lord who can wield both her nation's sacred twin weapons finally breaks out the Latona staff. Hopefully it doesn't break after 3 uses in Fae. Now L'Arachel is a cavalry healer like her little alt. For stats she has 40 HP, and a 49 attack, 48 speed, 18 defense, and 30 res. When it attacks Super Boom, L'Arachel is definitely more like a colorless mage. For ult skills, L'Arachel has the healer skills Ice Lock and Holy Panic. She gets attack and speed Hone Assault for buffing and DR piercing. Latona brings back the Arcane name and is a 14 might staff. At start of either phase, grant Imbue to allies within 3 spaces. After start of turn effects on either phase, neutralize stat debuffs and neutralize the top 2 negative status effects on your unit's status list. This will not apply to effects applied at the same time as his cleanse. As for the user, you have the standard 4th-gen arcane weapon perks: Slang, plus 15 stats in combat, 25 true damage, 15 flat DR, and 50% DR piercing. Latona is the S-rank staff that heals and cleanses all effects for allies on the map, so pretty close representation in Fae. Imbue is very strong with its 40% max HP instant healing and anti-deep wounds. On top of this, any healer can now get Attune Makai's type of cleansing. No harsh command, but getting rid of debuffs is good, and this effect has a 3-space range. Besides these standard combative perks, Latona is a pretty nice second arcane staff if you're looking for some upgrades. Now to stand out, L'Arachel has a new unique A skill called Peerless Beauty. At start of turn, grant Cancel Affinity to unit and allies within 2 spaces. At start of turn and after acting, inflict -7 speed and res, sabotage, flash, and triangle adept on the closest foe plus anyone within 2 spaces. For L'Arachel, she gets +9 stats in combat, 7 true damage in flat DR, full no follow-up effects, and if decreasing the speed roll by 10 would trigger a follow-up, then L'Arachel makes a 100% potent follow-up attack. Besides the last half of the skill being what Lysithea also has, L'Arachel has some nasty debuffs including AoE Flash, so you can't fight back. The spicy part of this skill though is that L'Arachel breaks out the Triangle Adept plus Cancel Affinity combo. This was just brought back thanks to Dual Boulder, but it requires her dual skill. Previously, Fallen Leon's Refine had this combo but only for himself, and Maribel is the OG unit who tried to utilize this. It's a bit complicated, but basically, Triangle Adept makes advantageous matchups gain 40% attack instead of the standard plus 20%. Cancel Affinity takes the extra 20% from Triangle Adept and reverses it so it becomes negative 20%. Plus 20%, minus 20% is 0, which means even if you have a disadvantageous matchup, there's no change in attack for the unit or their enemy. It is treated like a neutral matchup. Now, with new skills utilizing the weapon triangle, I should clarify that Cancel Affinity does not affect effects just looking for weapon triangle advantage. If an enemy Brave Boulder uses her green style on a blue foe, she's not going to get bonus attack, but she can still trigger her Brave attacks plus Archrival's cooldown perks. L'Arachel has a new healer-only B skill called Preempt Amplify. If a rally or movement assist is used by units, grants Preempt Pulse and Attack Liberate to unit, target ally, and allies within 2 spaces of the target after movement. Allies on the map with Preempt Pulse get +7 true damage during combat. For the user, they get Kanto 2 and inflict -4 speed and res. The user also deals true damage equal to 5 times the number of allies with Preempt Pulse. This does not count the user, so if you buff 3 allies, you can get the max 15 true damage. Preempt Amplify is similar to Legendary Sakura's Call to Serve. Instead of a debuff neutralization effect, allies get Preempt Pulse for -1 instant cooldown, and the new Attack Liberate status, which grants bonus attack in battle based on how many positive statuses you have. Technically, Preempt Amplify is better than Call to Serve in 2 aspects. It grants allies 7 true damage up from 5, and it just tacks on Kanto 2. I mean, that's pretty enticing for any healer to buff then get out of the way of danger. L'Arachel's kit is pretty good, and actually entirely inheritable for any cavalry healer. Ice Lock plus Hone Assault can give one ally full +6 field pulse and then trigger Preempt Amplify. Each turn, Latona can also pass along Imbue and cleanse debuffs +2 statuses. The Latona user themselves will pre-charge Holy Panic, and if you can get an extra action after using Ice Lock, then you can use the true damage from Preempt Amplify. The common Ice Lock plus Emblem Lyn Ring combo is pretty strong since the healer can move, use Ice Lock, then set up the long range Astral Storm style. With Preempt Amplify, you can even Kanto to move after. Now for L'Arachel, her A skill adds speed and res plus sabotage and flash to stay safe. Refine Latona with the Wrathful Staff Refine for full damage. If she can outspeed, L'Arachel has no follow-up to double and use her 100% potent hit. Assuming no guard effects, L'Arachel can trigger Holy Panic twice with her 3 hits. As a bonus, the -6 attack and panic from Holy Panic was synergized with Sabotage. Pretty good setup, which can make it tough to retaliate after. Now as for the Triangle Adept Cancel Affinity setup, generally that's not going to affect L'Arachel. It's great for colored allies though, and this is probably the most accessible the combo has been so far. In terms of other skills, I don't think L'Arachel really wants anything else. If you already have Hone Assault on someone, I guess you could use Shadow Assist skills. Preempt Amplify gives Kanto, so tough to give that up. With her flash status, L'Arachel can run Savage Blow to chip away at foes, and I guess you could use Guard to prevent or slow down enemy cooldown if she can't get the KO. Now if you don't need Panic, then you can try Light's Restraint to uncharge specials. It'll be tougher to double proc it, but you can also use Holy Pressure for Gravity. That would be pretty annoying on top of all the other effects L'Arachel has. All in all, Rearmed L'Arachel should be a great boon for any healer project, and her Triangle Adept plus Cancel Affinity combo is neat to see. She probably won't be taking many hits, but her damage is definitely respectable. Our last unit for today is Aided Lute, who is dressed as a GBA Sage. Lute's aided pet, which you can give to other units, is the Mogo Flying Eyeball monster from Sacred Stones. This could be a very clear nod to the enemy control glitch from the GBA games. Hilariously, people also think that's what the Mage Erica ult references, because this glitch allowed anyone to wield dark magic, which that Erica is doing with Gleipnir. Now, GBA references aside, Lute is a red infantry mage with 34 HP, 49 attack, 45 speed, 16 defense, and 49 res. Lute has superior attack and res, and instead of middling speed, 45 base ain't bad. This won't come at the cost of all her HP and defense though. Last year the new Tharja had 35 HP, but I had to go back to Hot Springs Elise to find the last unit with 34 base HP. That was 7 years ago. Now luckily, Lute has an HP Super Boom, so that'll totally fix things. She has the more noteworthy attack Super Boom. For old skills, Lute has Comet for triple base damage, -1 cooldown every turn, and 40% DR on first attacks. She also has Preempt Ploy to debuff and get extra cooldown plus attack and res. For Lute's weapon, she has the Unequal Tome. At start of turn and after acting, inflict -7 attack and res, sabotage, and anti-miracle on the closest foe and foes within 2 spaces. Lute has the same warp ability as Yunaka, including having pass. She checks if any tile within 2 spaces is either an ally, has a divine vein, is defensive terrain, or is difficult terrain like a forest tile. If those conditions are met, Lute can warp to anywhere within 2 spaces of that tile. Now, as for combat, we have the usual Book 10 effects: Slaying, +15 stats, 25 true damage, and 15 flat DR. Lute's gonna try and debuff the enemy with Sabotage because res debuffs equals higher base damage, which equals more comet damage. Anti-Miracle can help against annoying units, and Lute would just warp in all around based on the terrain. For her unique A skill, Lute has Superior Talent. At start of either phase, Lute grants +6 attack and res, Creation Pulse, and Conto 1 to allies within 2 spaces. Lute gets +9 flat stats, disables adaptive damage effects, and neutralizes her own attack and res debuffs. Lute is gonna get 7 more flat DR and 50% DR piercing. Last, Lute gets bonus attack equal to X times 80%. X is equal to A plus B, which should look familiar. A is the highest total field boss among Lute or allies within 3 spaces. B is the highest total debuffs among the target or foes within 3 spaces. If you don't recognize this formula, Lute has the same condition as Lysithea. Seems like they've been sharing notes since their dual ult, with the differences being that Lysithea gets bonus true damage while Lute gets bonus attack. Lute wants more attack because of Comet. Now to proc Comet, Lute has Creation Pulse and inflicts 2 penalties from her weapon. That means -2 instant cooldown. Of course, she also gives her team attack and res field boss and Conto 1, which is good. Lute gets flat stats for her Preempt Ploy C skill and she'll negate adaptive damage, which is good because he only has 16 base defense. Now for inheritable B skills, Lute has the attack and res low finish variant, -4 attack and res on the foe with more debuffs based on the number of positive statuses on the enemy. 4 statuses equals an extra -4 stats. In battle, neutralize the foe's attack and res field boss and gain 7 flat DR. If special is ready or has triggered, you get 15 true damage per hit and heal 7 HP on hit for the rest of the fight. There isn't a free-to-play source of low attack and res 3, so this one will be tougher to inherit. If you have a special focus unit, then low finish is a decent skill. Funnily, they never did make a low attack and res 4 because, well, the tier 4 lows aren't that amazing, at least in my opinion. Let's summarize Lute's playstyle. Each turn she inflicts -7 attack and res with Sabotage while also buffing the team with +6 attack and res. Superior Talent neutralizes attack and res debuffs while Low Finish neutralizes the foe's field boss. Basically, Lute's trying to get big stat advantages because those affect the base damage she deals. The higher your base damage, the higher Comet's damage is. Try to inflict speed and defense debuffs and gain speed and defense field buffs because Superior Talent takes 80% of the total of each and turns that into bonus attack. Now each turn, Slaying Comet will go to 3 cooldown. Creation Pulse plus Preempt Ploy grants -3 instant cooldown for the instant Comet nuke. This activates, finishes true damage, and Preempt Ploy has exposure true damage plus adds more attack and res in combat. Lute can then use her pass warping to just drop this Comet on someone and hopefully they die in one shot. Lute will have some defensive protection, but obviously the low base HP and defense don't inspire the most amount of confidence. If anything, try to get Lute no follow-up somehow. In case foes don't die, at least he won't let the slow ones fall up for free. Unless they're using Patience. Now for other skills, you could use Logic, but although the playstyle is pretty much identical, Comet's percent DR works on either phase though. Now if you want to replace Preempt Ploy, you could use Silence Ward. It still has -1 instant cooldown and you get the Nelsie Disrupt support for allies instead of Ploy/exposure. As for B skills, you could use Pair Up to make it tougher to double Lute. Conjuring Breath gives extra cooldown although Lute's going for a one-shot immediately. You can also use Tempo just in case she gets scowled, but each turn Comet will be pre-charging itself anyway. Now if you did want to drop 2 Comets on someone, you could use Conjuring Breath plus Pulse On. If the foe hits back, then that combo grants 4 cooldown. In conclusion, Aided Lute is another scary mage nuker who can just show up unannounced with her pass warping ability. For max firepower, get speed and defense field buffs and debuffs for superior talent to convert into tons of bonus attack. It's like a hilariously souped up blade tone. That'll be it for this banner. Out now, the Grand Hero Battalion is Garcia. Ross's dad is ready to throw down, and he's bringing a skill which actually hasn't been on any other unit before, which I think might be a first for a Grand Hero Battle unit. We'll talk about that more next time. As someone who's been waiting for this Sacred Stones banner, I'm kinda surprised they didn't do an Ephraim ult, which makes me a bit suspicious. I know they're gonna separate the house leaders for Emblem units, but would they actually do the same for Emblem Ephraim after basically ignoring him in Engage? Also, CYL is just around the corner, and once again, I guess I'm voting for Motor. They're just too scared of the boulder. Thank you for watching, good luck on your summons, and I will see you in the next video.